Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first Tuesday Night Live of 2026. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope everybody had a great holiday and a Happy New Year celebration. Let's go ahead and see who we have on, and then we'll get started and we'll talk about some exciting things because today is a launch day. And what that means is that we can now order from the mini catalog that runs January to April 2026. There are lots of wonderful products in this publication for all kinds of celebrations and everyday events. And then we also have the January 2026 online exclusives. So let's go ahead and see if we can find this video so I can get to the comments. There we go. Make sure the sound is off. Hello, everyone. Hello, Tracy. Hello, Laura. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Cynthia. Thanks for joining. I'm a minute or two late because I went to put my camera in the stand and my view was wrong, so I had to go in and update my Facebook app again to make it all work right. So at least I smart enough to figure that out this time, and we didn't end up with a really wide view where you can't really see what's going on. So let's talk about product launch today. Some of you have already ordered, others are waiting, and that's good. We do have everything in the online exclusives product list. The products from this little brochure are available online. If you don't have a brochure and you need one, just email me and I will attach a copy, PDF, because that's all that's available. And then we also have the January to April mini catalog. So that all went live today, and this has lots of fun stuff in it. So let's see, what else happened today? So today is the beginning of the January product of the month. And you can order this stamp set, which includes 10 photopolymer stamps. You're on my mind. Thank you. Happy birthday. Sending love. There are simply no words for this. Hello to a fabulous friend. You can do anything. Just because. Hooray. And so much. Lots of versatile sentiments that you can use on just about any of your projects. And this is available for $5 in the US and Canada. And you have to have just a $75 order here in the US. I'm not sure what the amount is in Canada, but with a $75 purchase, you can choose to add this particular stamp set to your cart for only $5. And that you can do one per person, one per customer, and it's while supplies last, and once the supplies are gone, it's gone for good. Okay, and that $75 threshold is after you have subtracted any Stampin' Rewards that you're planning to use and or any coupons that you may or may not have. And speaking of coupons, it is also the start of bonus days. Now, what the bonus days promotion is that every time you shop, for every $50 that you spend between today and February 2nd, you will earn a $5 coupon to use beginning February 3rd through the 28th. Okay? And again, that threshold, that $50 that you spend, has to be after you've deducted any rewards and or coupons, okay? Now, there's no limit to the amount of coupons that you can earn in the month of January, and there are no limits to the amount of coupons that you can redeem in February. Okay, so that is that. You must have an email address on file with Stampin' Up! To get those coupons, though. Okay, so, and then just a reminder, the virtual card retreat is available in the online store for the retreat that will happen on January 22nd and 23rd from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. and that is Mountain Time. And you get a stamp set and some dies and some other, all the things that you'll need to create the 15 cards that are within there. Okay? And that stamp set and stuff is exclusive to the virtual retreat. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to start with, there's lots of fun stuff happening. I was kind of hoping that Lynette would be here tonight because I'm doing the box that she requested that I show how to use. So we are going to make the Jolly Delivery treat box. These are on last chance, and when you get the dies, you also get these. This is just one sheet. Let me see if I can find, here's my other ones. These are the other dies that come in that die set, and it coordinates with the Jolly Delivery. Now this is on last chance, so you can get that as a bundle or just get the dies. I highly recommend this die. I will show you here in a minute just how wonderful this little box die is. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to be making a Valentine's box. This is the box that we're going to make. Okay, I know I'm giving you a sneak peek. I don't usually do that. So we're going to have some Flirty Flamingo cardstock. I've got a piece of Strawberry Slush cardstock. Piece of this, just a white scrap. I've cut a piece of basic white using the Beautifully Celebrated dies. These dies are part of a bundle. I did not get the stamp set, and these released today. They're called Beautifully Celebrated, and you get these 6 layering dies, and we are using die number 2 from the smallest. Okay, I really like these dies. I've actually used them quite a bit already. So let me slip that in. Just wanted you to know where that comes at. It is a brand new product. Okay, and then we've got a piece of the Made with Love Designer Series paper. I'm just going to do a quick flip through because I did an unboxing last week, and you could go back and check all that out where I went into this in good detail. Okay, so we're going to use that. That's the reverse side. Of course, you could use whichever side you want. And then I've got another scrap piece of white, and this is what I'm going to do my image stamping on. Okay, so we're going to do all of our stamping here all at once. All right, so we're going to start with some strawberry slush, and I'm going to take the sentiment, consider yourself hugged. This comes from a stamp set called Banner Sayings. I know I've used this a lot already. This was within the November online exclusives. And I'm not using the 3 banner punch, which is still out of stock and not scheduled to be back in until January 26th. But we are only using the stamp set today. So I'm just going to, actually I want this one. I think that's going to fit just about perfect. Just going to stamp that down on a piece of basic white in Strawberry Slush. Okay, I think that's the only Strawberry Slush I need. Then we're going to take Early Espresso, and from Fluffy Squirrel, which is currently in the last chance, we're going to use the tree trunk and the squirrel. So I'm going to take the tree trunk and I'm going to stamp an Early Espresso. I'm just going to stamp that down like that. And then I'm going to use Pebbled Path. I know this is it. If not, use Basic Gray. And I'm going to stamp it over here. Okay. And then I'm going to take Gray Granite and I'm going to stamp the detailed image. I'm going to line that up. The eye and the ear and the hand there. There we go. Now I've got my little gray squirrel. And then I'm going to bring in my punch. And I stamp this over here because that's where the acorn is on the left. And this way I waste less paper because I don't want the acorn today. So I'm just going to line this up. When I think it's where I want it, I'm going to give it a quick little press, not all the way, but just a nice pressure. And then I'll punch that out. Okay. So let's bring in our Stampin' Blends. I've got the Deep SU 100. And I'm just going to go here and basically go over these artist lines just to make them a little bit deeper. And then I'm going to put in a little bit of shadow along the bottom. Like so. And then I'm going to go back with Dark Pecan Pie. And I'm going to hope this cap comes off of here because I'm struggling with this one today. There we go. And then I'm just going to add a little bit here. I'm going to add a little bit more in the center here where my squirrel's going to cast a little shadow. And then I'm just going to go along this bottom and kind of blend that darker brown in. Oh, good, Lynette, you are here. Yay! Okay, and then we're just going to color this in with the light pecan pie. Okay. Now we need to find that. And so, oh man. Are we back? There we go. I don't know what happened. We are storming like crazy here, and it said there for a second I was waiting for a signal. So hopefully we aren't too glitchy with the storm. Okay, so we've got those pieces. Now, in addition to that, I'm taking the Strawberry Slush And I'm going to take from the Endless Love dies. This is part of the Endless Love bundle. Here's the stamp set and the dies. And I've taken this particular die here and cut that out as strawberry slush. Okay, and I did that ahead of time to save us a little bit of time. So let's put those away. And then I'll bring those in. I've got them on my little silicone mat here. And so these are the pieces that come out of that, these strawberry slush ones right here. And then I'm going to take my Wink of Stella pen. I've done it on all the smaller ones. I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool, hold that down, and just put some Wink of Stella on there. Okay. All right, now let's go ahead and set this back aside so we don't lose those tiny little pieces. And let's make our box. So I've taken a piece. This piece is 5.5 by 6 inches. 6 by 5.5. And that was dumb. I just buried my thing. I'm going to take this piece of the treat box, and then I'm going to take this little heart piece. Okay. I'm going to bring in my platform from my die cut machine. I wanted to show you from start to finish how this works and how easy it is. And I'm just going to put this on my paper cardstock, and then I'm going to line this up. And if you put it at an angle, it'll fit this perfectly. Okay, let's try this. For some reason, that's not doing well. Maybe I cut it too short. 5.5 works. Okay, there we go. Got it. All right. It's just being stubborn. All right, so we've got that. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn that around like that, because this piece, as you can see, has a little heart, has 3 little pokey things here, and there's 3 indentations in this end. So I'm just going to set that in there. I'm going to take a piece of tape and I'm going to put that on. Put on my top piece. Bring in my cut and emboss. And then I'm just going to roll that through. Okay. And then we'll just pull that off of there. And when we pull this out, we've got that piece. And we've got our scrap. And then here's our box. Okay. And this is already, now the entire box is cut, ready to go. So all we need to do is fold on the score lines, which were already put in there by the die. Just fold those down, give them a good burnish. Okay, fold those down and that. And then we're going to burnish that. And I need to slow down and not get in a hurry, so I'm doing this without messing it up. Okay, so here's our box. Now, this is the top of our box, and this is the bottom of our box, because this is going to come up, and we need to make sure that we remember to fold these over, because this is going to be our locking mechanism for our box. Okay, so then you can fold all of these in. Fold your tabs in, fold your sides in, fold that up, squeeze that up, square everything in there, pop those open, and that box will stay closed. Okay? Now, I didn't use any adhesive here, so you can get away with no adhesive if you want. I prefer adhesive though, and I want to fold this back out and do my decorating before I put this whole box together. So we're going to take that designer series paper, and I'm going to add that to the front of my box, just like that. And then we're going to take our beautifully celebrated die here. We're going to add this. And I'm just going to kind of center that up on that designer series paper. Maybe go just a little bit higher and center here. And then we're going to add our tree trunk. And I'm going to do that with some glue dots, some mini glue dots. It's going to give it just a tiny bit of added dimension. I'm going to put this down here, like that. And then I'm going to take my little squirrel here. And I'm going to trim this off because I don't like that white at the bottom. So I'm just going to trim that. And then I'm also going to trim right here at his paw, because I'm going to add that heart there, and I want that to be a little bit more cohesive. Okay, so before I put this down, I need to bring in my little heart here, and we're going to use this one. So I'm going to take another glue dot, and I'm going to take your pick tool, where did I set that down at? That's right here. Okay, so I'm just going to roll that up with my take your pick tool into a little log. Let's put these where they belong so I can find them here in a second. Then I'm just going to put this little glue dot right on the back of his paw. Make sure none of that's sticking out. And then I like to take the paw to the heart and just pick that up. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and add some Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm running low on these on this particular sheet. Okay, so we're just going to grab 3 of those and stick it on that heart right there. Okay, and then we're going to bring this in, remove those backing pieces, and I'm going to put this over here just a bit like so, making sure that his ears aren't above the score mark here and his tail stays there. Okay, then we're going to take our Consider Yourself Hugged, and we're going to trim that out. We're going to hand trim that out. Everything is all nice and straight, so we just use some straight cuts here. Everything should be nice and tidy and fit how we want it to fit. We're working with a real small box here, so we kind of need a small sentiment, and that's why I went with the banner sayings. Okay, so then I can decide where I want to put this. And actually, I rounded that one corner, so this one not being rounded is going to bother me. Okay, so we've got that. Let's go ahead and put this down here. And to do that, I'm going to get some mini dimensionals. I've got a half a mini dimensional there and a half a mini dimensional here. And then I can put a full mini in the middle there. Lift off those backing pieces. Now, if you didn't want to mess with the sentiment, you could just stamp your sentiment on the inside and call it good. But I wanted it out here, so there we are. And then we're going to add some more of these little hearts. But to do that, I'm going to take some liquid glue, put a little bit of liquid glue right here on my silicone mat. Then I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to grab one of those mini hearts and dip it in the glue. And then I'm going to bring that out here. And then we're going to take this medium-sized heart, dip that one, and I'm actually going to put that one right there. Okay. Now, the last thing that I like to do here, before I put it together, I'm going to take a little bit of the Wink of Stella and just dot the eye on that squirrel. Okay, let's move all this out of the way. Let's grab our chocolates. And then I'm going to take some liquid glue here because I like my boxes to stay together. So I'm actually going to take a little bit of liquid glue and put on each of these 4 tabs. You could use tear and tape or Seal Plus if you can make that stuff work. Any strong glue that you have on hand, and then I'm just going to fold that down and put that cut side up to the corner and give that a press for a second. And then I'm just going to work my way around the box on those 4 corners, pressing as I go. Remember, with liquid glue, you don't need a lot. It doesn't adhere instantly, but if you just hold it for a few seconds, Give it a good press. Your box will not fall apart on you. So we've got that. Okay, then I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to go in and reinforce those tabs with a good press. And then we're going to put our little Bouchard chocolates in here. You can get these currently at Costco. And put 3 of those in there. And then I'm going to take and fold that up. Press those little heart pieces. Make sure I press that top down fully. And now our box is decorated and sealed. Not much time. Okay? Easy, quick, and there we go. All right, so that's project number 1. Now let's move on to our next project, which is a card. Let me put just a couple things away here so they aren't hanging out, getting in trouble. Okay, don't need those. I think I'm done with these. All right, so we're going to use these again. And this time we're going to use real red ink. We've got a packet of pieces here. Oh, this is the wrong one. Wrong one. Oh, there's my other one. Oh, this is bad. Where did I put that other one I was making? Oh, it's right here. This is the one we're making. That one I showed you is for Thursday night, which will not be live because I have a concert, a makeup concert that was supposed to happen in December that didn't happen because of really nasty rainy weather. And so we're going to do that this Thursday, but I am going to pre-record a video and I will have that for you at 7 o'clock, almost as if I was here. Okay, so for this card, we're using the mini alphabet dies. Those are in the annual catalog. And then we're going to use Endless Love. And I have a piece of bubble bath cardstock. And from the bubble bath cardstock, I pre-cut, so you didn't have to watch. I took this large die from the Endless Love, and I placed that where I wanted it, and then I ran that through my die cut machine, and then this is what I get, okay? And I also get a bubble bath piece, which we will be using on Thursday, okay? So don't throw that away, because you're going to need it on Thursday's box. And then I also took this same die and a piece of the Made with Love cardstock or designer series paper, and I cut that out using the same die. Okay, you can choose what pattern you like. That's going to fit right there. Okay, and I cut this particular die out of real red. Okay, and I did the Wink of Stella on there. So I just ran my Wink of Stella brush over there to give that a nice shine. So we've got that piece. So those 2 dies. And then I took a piece of white cardstock and this charm die. And we've got that piece. Okay. Then I've got a scrap piece of basic white. This is, well, it's not really scrap. We need this for our sentiment. This is 1 inch by 2 inches. Okay. Let's get these back on the thing here. so they don't get lost. And then from the mini alphabet die, I wanted to show you how I did this because it intimidates some people. I cut out the letters H, U, G, and S. Okay? Now, this is a single die that cuts the whole alphabet plus extra letters. So what I like to do with this is I like to take a strip. This is a 1-inch strip. I needed the G and the H. So I just take this in here and I cut myself a piece that'll be big enough, like so. And then I needed the S and the U. So I'm just going to cut myself another piece that fits there. And then another piece that'll cover the U. Okay? Then to make sure that those stay where I want them, I bring in my platform. Let me get my top plate here. Bring in my platform. I'm going to put my top plate down first. Okay? Then I'm going to put my die face up so I can see it. And I'm going to line these up. Oop. Okay. Then I'm going to place my bottom plate on. And I'm going to run that through my die cut machine, which you can't see, but I'm doing it real quick right behind me. Okay. So we've got that. And then when I lift this off, I have all of the pieces that I need. I didn't waste a bunch of paper that I didn't need. Now, if you're doing white or black, by all means, cut everything because you're going to use those letters eventually in those colors. And then just store them in something. But here is what I have. So now all I have to do is pop those out. I've got my H. Well, I've got two H's. Got a G. Got my S. This S didn't cut out, and that's okay. And I've got my U. So I have everything I need with that small little piece of paper. Okay? And that's just how easy that is to make that work. All right. So let's go ahead and get started now. We've got all of our pieces here. And we're going to stamp on this. So I'm going to fold this in half and give that a good burnish. All right. Then I'm going to take and put a piece of scrap paper under here. Doesn't have to be pretty. Just put it under there. Get your bubble bath ink. And then there is a tiny little dotty stamp in here. And I'm just going to run this dotty stamp in all different directions, all over the front of my card. Just to give it a little bit of textured background. Now I could, if I wanted, run this through with the embossing folder that coordinates with this suite. but I didn't want to do that, so. Okay, and I'm going to fold that so I can go off the edge there and not hit the back. And there is my stamped front. Okay, so now let's go ahead. I want to put this back and make sure it's going to lay down just so. I'm going to take my DSP heart, and of course you could use this side if you wanted. Either way, I'm going to just put in some Stampin' Seal, and then I'm just going to set this in here, flatten everything out so it fits nicely, give that a good press, and then that's going to be right where it needs to be on the inside of my card. Okay? Now we're going to take our white charm piece, and we're going to take the Sending You. This is also from Endless Love. And we're going to stamp this in Flirty Flamingo. I think it's Flirty Flamingo. I'm going to ink that up. This barely fits inside the lines up here, but it fits. So we've got that. Okay, now we're going to take some of the Bubble Bath ribbon, which also is in this suite. Okay, and I'm going to thread this through from the back to the front, I think. I might need to do it the other way. I can't remember how I did it. I want to leave it on here so I don't get too much. So I'm just going to thread that through. Then I'm going to loop and swoop, tuck it through the hole, pull it tight, fix my things, and now my bow. Look, I twisted my bow. Hang on, that's going to bother me. I twisted the ribbon so that it was not all going the same direction. Okay, let's get a good tight hold here. Okay, and then when we go through here, we need to make sure we pull that all nice and straight so that bow doesn't loop and twist. And then we'll get a nice bow like that where everything is as it should be. Whoops. Cut that off. There we go. And that is ready for our card. Okay. Oh, I forgot to stamp one other piece, you guys. What was I thinking? I need one more piece. And I didn't pre-stamp it because I wanted you to see it. Okay. In fact, I need to take it out of the... We need to grab these two stamps right here. This one and this one. Sorry about that. Usually I have those all ready to go for you, so you don't have to watch me do this part. Okay, so this is a floppy stamp, so I'm gonna put it on a piece of cardstock, let it come to its natural shape before I put it on my block, and then I'm going to grab this one. Okay, now to do this way, I recommend that you do this piece first, So we're going to do this one in the Floating Flamingo. And I'm just going to stamp this right here, like that. And then we're going to take Real Red, and we're going to take this piece here, and we're going to line that up right over the top and stamp that down. Okay, so much easier if you do it this piece first and then this piece, or it is for me anyway. Okay, so now we've got this, and we need to die cut that. So we're going to go back to those dies, and we're going to grab out this die. And this time we're going to use our mini machine because it's more convenient to do that. But I guess the clay was right there that I needed. Okay, so I'm just going to take this, get plate 2. I'm going to set this on here like this. I'm going to tape that down so it doesn't move. Stagger my plates, because on the mini, if you don't stagger the plates, it doesn't want to go through the machine. Okay. And then we're just going to run that through. Okay, there we go. We're ready to go. Okay. So now we're going to take this piece and we're going to put it in here, like so. And this is going to go inside. It's going to hang through the opening. So we want to make sure that we only put seal on this edge right here. Okay. Otherwise, you'll have tape through your thing. And I'm going to press that down very lightly, just enough to hold it. Okay. Check to make sure I don't have any glue there, and I don't. And then I'm going to bring in this piece that we cut earlier and did the Wink of Stella, and that's going to go in the center. And what I do, there we go. Okay, so let's grab this and silicone mat. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in these bigger areas. So remember, you don't need a lot of the liquid glue. Just a dot here and there, just to hold those pieces down. Okay, that'll be enough. And then we're going to take this and I'm going to try to center that right there like so. And then I can take a look and go, okay, do I need to move this? And I think I'm going to move it just a smidge, and that's exactly why I did not press that down hard. Okay, so that looks good to me. Then I'm going to bring this one in here, and I'm going to put this in here. And again, part of it's going to hang over. So I'm just going to put some glue on the right side and at the bottom. And then I'm going to stick this in here, like so. And that is essentially the front of our card. We got to add some embellishments. And then we're going to take our sentiment strip here, the little 1 inch by 2 inch. And take our hugs and turn all these over. You could, of course, use adhesive sheets, and that would be a good thing to do, but I didn't. So I'm just going to use this fine tip bottle that my friend gave me. And I've cut this so that it's pretty close to exactly what you need, but start with your H here. Put in your G. I'll put in the S. Or put the G in. We'll put the S, and if we need to trim it, then we'll trim it. Okay. Now I'm a little bit closer to the left than I am to the right. If that doesn't bother you, leave it. If it does, stick it in your trimmer, slice that off, and now you're good. Okay. And then we're just going to add this right here. And because it's on the inside, I'm going to use some seal because I don't want my card to pop open like that, but I do need to make sure that where I put this doesn't show through to the front. Okay, so now let's add our embellishments and then we'll be done. So we have the loose Valentine's assortment, and I'm going to get myself a little glob of glue there. Take your pick tool, pick myself up an envelope, dip that in the glue. Ooh, turn that around so it's like that. I'm going to find myself a heart, and I want one of these darker color ones. And if this is not dark enough for you, then take your real red Stampin' Blend and change the color. And let's do that one. Let's put it on the paper. Put it on the paper. Because what I really want to do is run my blend around the outside edge as well. And it is pouring again. Okay, so we've got that. Now let's go ahead and grab one of the little lips in here. Okay, I'll grab that. I'll put that in the glue. Put that up here. Get that to sit for a second. There we go, right back where I want it. I always take and close these and then give them a good little press. Okay, and then we can take our last little heart, and I'm going to stick that up here. My little putty's really sticking to those, the texture of those. Okay, so there we go. There you have it. Those are our 2 projects for tonight. And like I say, I will have a video for you on Thursday, even though I won't be live. So take a look out for that on YouTube, and there you have it. All right. Oh, let's do our envelope real quick, because I forgot to do that. And really, we're just going to do the same thing we did with this little stamp right there. So we'll just take that out, make sure I've got it upwards the right way. Ask me why I do that, because if you don't, you could end up with your heart upside down. Wouldn't be a first time for me. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp this again. Stamp this piece first. No naked envelopes is the way I was taught, so here we are. We'll just lay that down. And there we go. Now we have a matching envelope ready to go. All right, everybody. That's what I have for you tonight. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for coming. And I will see you next week right here on Facebook, Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Have a great week. Bye-bye.